What broader concept is mentioned that could see vertical farming expand to include other types of agriculture and reconnect consumers with food production?
Perfect. Vertical urban agriculture is the correct choice. Vertical farms are times more productive than normal farms. You're right. 350 is the correct answer. What % less land does a vertical farm use? Exactly. 99 makes sense and it is right choice. The result of vertical farming is . Correct response. All of the above is the most accurate answer. What advantage does vertical farming have in terms of climate control compared to traditional farming? Well done. It uses advanced technology to control climate is the right choice. What is a major environmental concern that vertical farming could help address according to the text? Well picked. Water scarcity in California due to climate change is the correct answers. What is the estimated annual production of leafy greens at the new farming complex in Calgary? Nice selection. Almost £2 million is the correct and valid answer. What is the cost comparison of producing lettuce in a vertical farm versus a traditional farm? On track. Traditional farming is 6 times cheaper is the correct answer. How does the rainwater-driven rotary system in vertical farms help with the farmland issue? Nicely done. By providing efficient land space is a solid answer. Where do many vertical farms often find suitable locations due to urban land challenges? Correct. In repurposed containers and warehouses is the right answer. How does vertical farming help reduce the impact of transportation on food production? Good job. Your answer, it's located close to urban areas, works well here. How much greater are yields in some vertical farms compared to traditional crop farms? Solid response. 50 to 100 times greater is a valid choice. What was a major reason for the failure of many vertical farming companies in 2023? Good thinking. High labor and capital costs is the right answer. What is a key benefit of the sustainable irrigation method used in vertical farms? Valid point. Precise watering with recycled rainwater is true. What is the main advantage of vertical farming in terms of environmental impact? Great job. It reduces the use of pesticides is the accurate answer. What method is commonly used in vertical farming to provide nutrients to crops? You chose hydroponics, and it is correct. What types of chemicals are avoided in the vertical farming process described? Sharp thinking. Pesticides, herbicides, fungicides is the right choice. How does the water usage of vertical farming compare to open field farming? What? Clear logic. Your choice uses about 5% of the water is sound and 100% true. What indicates the technological readiness of Taiwan for vertical farming? Excellent. Collaboration with a Danish partner is a brilliant choice. What is the main reason for Singapore to experiment with vertical farming? Smart pick. Limited land availability is the correct choice. What is a key factor in making vertical farming more viable in the future? Bravo! Further automation and reduced hardware costs is the answer. What is the benefit of vertical farming in terms of water and land usage?
Strong choice. Uses 98% less water and 99% less land is the right answer.
What is the compound annual growth rate of the vertical farming industry? Right choice. 25% is the best answer.
What is the main advantage of vertical farming in terms of food deserts? Nice work. You chose increased access to fresh foods, and it is correct.
What is the potential impact of vertical farming on diets and cuisines? Great thinking. Diversification of diets is the right choice. How does the operation of vertical farms impact agricultural workers?
Smart move. Shifts towards more machine-operated work is an accurate answer. What is controlled environment agriculture in vertical farming?
You got it. Your choice, a practice to provide optimal conditions for plants, is right. What is the potential impact of vertical farming on the environment? Excellent choice. Reduction in deforestation is the right answer. What is the potential downside of transitioning to vertical farming? Well reasoned. Loss of farming communities' identities is the correct choice. What is a potential solution for the high costs of vertical farming?
Right again. Relocating to hot and arid climates is a valid answer.
What is the main benefit of using hydroponics in vertical farming?
You chose reduced water usage.
And it is correct. What is one of the widely publicized benefits of vertical farming?
Nice selection. Higher crop yields is the correct and valid answer.
What technology has helped make vertical farming more efficient? Sharp thinking. LED lighting is the right choice. How much more can a vertical farm grow than a traditional farm? Nicely done. 50 times more is a solid answer. Which crops are mentioned as being grown in the vertical farm? Smart move. Cherry tomatoes, Roma tomatoes, strawberries, herbs is an accurate answer.
What is the main advantage of vertical farming in urban areas?
On track. Reduced space required is the correct answer. Which company was the first unicorn vertical farming startup?
Good thinking. Childish is the right answer.
What is a major challenge for vertical farms in urban areas? Right again. High labor costs is a valid answer. Why did the town council reject the vertical farm project?
You're right. They decided to sell the site for luxury apartments is the correct answer.
What is the main problem that vertical farming can solve? Well picked. Food production for growing population is the correct answer.
How does vertical farming reduce the need for pesticides?
Bravo! By eliminating pests through controlled environments is the answer. Why is vertical farming considered the future of farming? Well reasoned. It allows for larger crop yields is the correct choice.
What type of produce is best suited to vertical farming?
Exactly. Leafy greens make sense, and it is right choice. What is a key component of vertical farming technology? Strong choice. Using special LED lights is the right answer. The name of the vertical farm we looked at is called.
Nice work. You chose plenty, and it is correct.
What was the initial promise of vertical farming? Smart pick. To feed an increasing world population with less water is the correct choice. What is needed in order to create a vertical farm? Excellent choice. Have LED lights is the right answer. What is the highest cost in vertical farming? Correct response. Labor is the most accurate answer. Why is produce from vertical farms cleaner? You got it. Your choice, it is grown in a controlled environment, is right. Why are LEDs important in vertical farming? Correct. They reduce energy consumption is the right answer. What is one advantage to vertical farming? Great job. Year-round is the accurate answer. What is the essence of vertical farming? Perfect. Growing plants in a sealed skyscraper or building is the correct choice. How does vertical farming save water? Excellent. By recycling water within the system is a brilliant choice. Aeroponics and hydroponics are dash. Valid point. 2 types of vertical farming is true. Who introduced vertical gardening? Solid response. Dixon Dyspomier is a valid choice. Disadvantage of vertical farming? Great thinking. Less jobs is the right choice. Why is traditional farming bad? Right choice. Uses pesticides is the best answer. What is vertical farming? Well done. Farming on vertical surfaces is the right choice. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format. Clear logic. Your choice contact Narayan Changder is sound and 100% true.